A look at a local medical home care company and another tough question answered. All that and more coming up now on Join the City True Stories. Join the City is a program highlighting people and organizations having an impact in our city. All too often, we hear about the problems and the dysfunction in our culture, but we are coming with a different approach as we take a look at the good things going on right here in our community. I'm Bethany Marshall, and you're about to see what God is doing in our city. We want to thank our program sponsors, Park Home, for the donation of furniture used in our studio, Made by Vogel for the contribution of many props in our studio, and our platinum sponsor, Harry's Construction, for their ongoing support of Joy in the City. Today we will look at a native business that has been in our area for over 50 years. Dick's Homecare Incorporated is a family-owned and operated home medical equipment company providing quality service and products to customers throughout 13 counties in central Pennsylvania. Randy Dick recently sat down with Teresa Miller to tell us about the business.
So Randy, thanks for being here with us today and allowing us the opportunity to highlight your business. You guys have been around since 1929, which is a long time. So kind of give us the history behind.
Well, my grandfather started the pharmacy up on 4th Street in 1929. That time, 2 years to be a pharmacist. Then my dad come in, I think in 1958. He was a pharmacist. They both worked in there. 4 years of pharmacy school. Then my brother, came in about, 78. He was a pharmacist too, 5 years of pharmacy school. Then I got out in 81, so there was 4 pharmacists. It was a family of pharmacists started. And we all worked in there, and we had too many pharmacists. So they opened a store up in Claysburg, my brother went up there, and then we opened a store in Williamsburg. We spread out a little bit. And I'd say about 82, 81, we started getting into equipment a little bit, the medical equipment. And we would talk to the doctors on the phone while we were taking, back then you took prescriptions, they don't do that today. They just, fax them in and stuff. But you would talk to the doctor directly, and we'd mention that we were getting into the equipment and oxygen and stuff like that, and started, promoting the medical equipment. And then that started taking off a little bit, and we decided to change from Dick's Pharmacy, and we incorporated 2 businesses, the pharmacy and the home care. And we opened a building across the street from the pharmacy, and we just did home care only. And I moved out of the pharmacy probably completely about 1985 and just did the home care only. And then my brother and my dad, they continued to work the pharmacy, and I continued to promote the home health care, and would go out to doctors and different things, and got a salesman, and had a girl taking in calls, and started out small. And then from there, we ended up branching, opening another store, and now today we have 8 stores, and we're all over central Pennsylvania basically. We have stores from Altoona all the way down to Gettysburg East. And basically it all started from the pharmacy, just a branch off. And the pharmacies, we sold to Rite Aid about 2 years ago, and we're still doing strong in the home care. We had a little setback about 3-4 years ago, where I'd say 70% of our business is Medicare. And Medicare, we had all these rentals out, hundreds of rental equipment, and they decided to do a 45% cut in reimbursement. And we were a little worried back 3 or 4 years ago, and because it was a big cut, almost half your money basically. And in the country, 50% of the medical suppliers went out of business right in that period. And we weathered the storm a little bit, and I would say 4 or 5 months after the cut, the Lord did some miracles basically. We had one hospice company call us that They dealt with us 10 years ago, but they were a national company, and they were told that they have to deal with a national supplier. They can't go with a little DME company in town. They always wanted to use us, but they couldn't. But after our Medicare cut, here they haven't used us in 10 years. They called us, and that made up probably 15–20% of our cut. So we were back in business a little bit. We thought we were going to be out. And then a few months later, we had other hospice agencies calling us that wanted us to do more business with them and branch out. And we made up practically all our Medicare cut. And all the other suppliers, we took a lot of their business that had went out of business. And we're actually doing better now since the cut. We just have more patients, and we're just happy. Been great.
I know for a fact that you guys are givers in the community in a multitude of ways. Do you feel like that was kind of like a reward for you?
Yeah,
like the Lord giving back to you for your kindness?
Well, yeah. Well, if He gives you something to stand on, you better use it. You know, I mean, He gives you that platform. I think He's given you the opportunity to use it. I mean, yeah, our delivery tickets and all that have scripture, and Dan Burkhardt, he changes the scripture regularly on there, and we don't, you know, we send it to the home. And sometimes we have a few drivers that'll pray with the people too. And yeah, the Lord's blessed us all along the way.
That's awesome.
all
That's
along
awesome.
the way.
So I'm just curious how you, being independent, how you stay in competition with all the big names out there, all the big names in the industry.
Yeah, it is sort of amazing.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it is sort of amazing. But like here in Blair County, we don't get a lot because the UPMC has their own company. But the UPMC uses us on all our other sites because they don't want to deliver that for us. So we're on every insurance company, and yeah, we actually do better service for the patient, and we actually care, I think, more than the national companies too. And we do the little things that they can't do.
And would you say that your reputation kind of follows you? And that
Yeah.
kind of
Yep.
makes you stand out?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. They, a lot of the bigger companies is straight by the book. You know, a lot of them don't want to even do maybe a simple little walker, you know, and stuff like that, where we have all that kind of stuff that we do just about everything. And that's how we've grown too. We do the little stuff.
Did things pick up because of the pandemic?
Yeah, the pandemic, we just closed our showrooms for a period of time, but the showrooms was probably 10% of our business. Most of it was delivery. 90% of our business is delivery, so it didn't hurt us. We did pick up because we were doing more oxygen. A lot of the patients that got COVID needed to be on oxygen, so we ended up putting a lot of oxygen machines out and a lot of rentals, but the manufacturers were going slim at that time too, so we could not get a lot of the machines that we wanted to get from the manufacturers. So everybody was hurting in that way, but yeah, we had everything that we could put out. It increased our business, yeah, the COVID.
COVID was such a strange thing, in that it kind of sucked the life out of some businesses and breathed new life into others.
Yeah.
And it just was such a roller coaster.
Yeah, it wasn't so much for us because we sort of, like I said, we continue to do business. But I sort of felt bad for a lot of other places like the restaurants and stuff like that, because they had to close up and 100% of their business is gone. It wasn't like that, you know, for us. We, like I said, we had our showrooms closed, but we were still in business because people needed our services. But
you have multiple locations, 8, I believe.
Yes.
Where are they located?
We got Altoona, Huntington, State College, Phillipsburg, Lewistown, McConnellsburg, Chambersburg, and then our furthest site is Gettysburg down east. That was the newest one we opened. And when we opened that, it went rough at first too. But the Lord turned that one around, and we thought we were going to have to end up doing a Subway there because we got zilch business when we opened up. But now it's going strong.
That's great.
It's so amazing. I think, you know, if you're a Christian businessman, it's different. There is people that are non-Christians that, you know, really thrive too. But if you're a Christian businessman, you know, and you're doing well, the Lord's made you do well, you put back in the kingdom, and I think it just grows. You just,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
I would tell the girls when we were growing, you know, our customer service girls, when the phones would ring, the manna's fallen. And a lot of them didn't know what manna was, you know, and I'd say, you just have to pick it up. And they'd pick up the phone. I said, "It's what manna is. Just picking up, he's just dropping it." And that's what happened over the years. It was just dropped in.
Well, we appreciate you. We appreciate what you do for the community. And I personally appreciate that touch in your business and not being afraid to acknowledge what you stand for.
Yeah.
You just never know when a seed is planted.
Yeah.
And when you deliver, it's vulnerable. People are in vulnerable positions. And so
Yeah.
I just think that word of encouragement is so important.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can be in the ministry, but when you're in business too, you can be in the ministry too.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for being here with us today, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Today's Platinum sponsor is Harry's Construction, whose motto is, "If you can dream it, we can create it." Recently opening Harry's Construction Kitchen and Bath Center so you, the consumer, can see examples of the variety of services provided by the team at Harry's Construction. Regardless of the project size, Harry's team approaches each project as if it is his own home. Be sure to visit Harry's Construction Kitchen and Bath Center at 114 Main Street in Bellwood. You can also visit their website to see pictures of home improvement projects over the years. Thanks again to Harry Halk and the team for supporting Joy in the City.
Made by Vogel is a father and son business that produces high-quality handmade wooden products such as cutting boards, bowls, bottle stoppers and more. Products for sale can be found on their Etsy site or in downtown Altoona at the Clay Cup. You can't go wrong buying from Made by Vogel.
From time to time, we all have tough questions we'd like to have the answer to. Today, Captain Larry Fulmer will tackle one of those questions.
Well, Larry, thanks for hanging out with me for a few minutes today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Occasionally on this show, we ask tough questions, tough topics, and today we're going to talk a little bit about social media. Social media is one of those topics that people have just varying opinions on, what it should be used for, the negative approach that a lot of people take with social media. Mm-hmm. I know you're a social media guy. I see you all the time on doing lots of things. So talk to me about the value of social media in ministry, and we'll get into some of the issues that people often have with it.
Yeah, I love this question because this is my heart behind social media. And as you said, you know, I am a social media guy and I do a lot. I have so many accounts that I even update. But social media gives you such a platform. You know, we all have a voice. We all want to be heard, and you know, we can use our voice in a positive way or a negative way. But it all depends on what your goal is and what you want to use your social media for. For me personally, I want to make an impact in the kingdom of God. I want that to be a ministry. Do I post personal things? Absolutely. But I want people to know the gospel. And so that's one reason, the main reason I would say why I use social media as much as I do, because it does give you that platform to be a voice and be a light in such a dark world that we live in.
So, because one of the elements of social media is when people put something out there, you got people that respond, and people can be nasty.
Oh yeah.
And they may have no relationship with the person, but they can be nasty. So how do you handle something like that when someone puts a post out there for everyone to read,
Yeah.
and it could be whether political or about you, your organization, that is just nasty?
I can honestly tell you one thing I've learned specifically about being a leader in the city is to never read comments. Because you will see majority of the time, unfortunately, Troy, it's majority of the time that you have people voicing their opinions. And you know, it goes back to that saying, your opinion doesn't always need to be heard, right? But social media does give you that opportunity to start voicing your opinion. And in a lot of these comments, posts that are about someone or something, an organization or an individual or even a church, you know, it can be hurtful. One thing that I try to do is, number one, you know, try not to read the comments, but two, though, you know, as much as it's easier said than done, let it, you know, let the water just roll off the duck's back, pretty much, or however that saying goes. You know, you just kind of have to ignore it, but continue to, you know, continue to fulfill your own goal and what you use social media for. Understanding that not everyone is going to use it the way you use it. People are going to create different accounts to voice different opinions, whether it's politically or, unfortunately, we see this even in sometimes the faith community where people sometimes will attack pastors or churches or just different leaders even in our city. And so we just have to be willing to, understanding that, you know, they still have an opinion, they have that right, but what are you going to do about it? How are you still going to be faithful and stand firm, even when other people around you maybe they're not?
So what would your counsel be to someone who maybe is a faith leader and posting things that are very detrimental to unity? Maybe it's a political post that is nasty about the opposing party of who they support. How do you feel that leaders in the faith community should or shouldn't post in those situations?
So I feel like specifically leaders in the faith community, when it goes towards somebody else who's posting something divisive, I would say have a conversation. You know, have that conversation. And you never know what that conversation is going to turn into. But I would say have a good conversation, whether it's over a cup of coffee or just something very light, and kind of ask, you know, tell me about why you posted this or something. But now, when it comes to faith leaders posting something that could be divisive, and I think you said it, that's detrimental. That could be detrimental to the reputation even of the faith community. That could be detrimental to your church's reputation or your organization's reputation. And so my counsel, my advice is to stay away from anything divisive, because we all have one thing in common, and that is Jesus. And so when we're sharing that and being faithful to the gospel, then that, you know, that name Jesus is going to divide, but it's going to divide, you know, light and darkness, and not, you know, politics or any other opinions that we may have. And so we just have to be willing to, you know, again, it goes to humility too. Humble ourselves, you know, and be those humble servants that Christ was. And, you know, and I would just highly recommend staying away from anything that could be divisive.
Now, so someone who is as active on social as you, let's say there's a pastor or even a business leader out there that wants to increase their social activity for the organization. It can actually be quite extensive in the manner of time and commitment to keep up with it. You do a great job with that. So talk to us a little bit about, from an advice standpoint, maybe in a preparation, you need to knock out this much time. Talk a little bit about your process?
I don't have a process, Troy. No. So one thing that has really helped me was just, scheduling, how many times do I want to post a day? And that's not even on a personal Facebook page. That's on whether it's a church Facebook page, a public figure Facebook page, or an organization that you are an admin of, whether it's Twitter, Instagram. So schedule out how many times you want to post and what you want to post. And a simple post could just be a share too, or a copy and paste of an article that could be beneficial or helpful. And so for me personally, I try to post at least once or twice daily on all social media, on all my social media platforms. That way you're still engaging, you're still staying engaged, and your social media is still alive. It's not sitting there dead, because that's the last thing you want, because the less activity you have, the less more people are gonna really follow you or care to follow you. And the beauty of social media is that you have that voice, you have that platform. And so, not that it's all about followers, but you do want people to follow and connect and engage with what you're doing. And so being active at least once or twice a day is helpful.
So any final advice that you would have for someone who's looking to start with this, and they've heard the pros and cons, they've heard the positive, the negative, should you do it, shouldn't you do it? I think your approach, one of the reasons I want to ask you this, because your approach is very positive, but yet plentiful. You
Right.
do it a lot, but there's a lot of nastiness, not just in the faith community, but culture as a whole, of what is posted on social media. So what is something that you would say to the leader of a business or a church or a faith organization, maybe some steps to get rolling, and maybe even where are the most effective places to post?
Yeah, I would highly recommend Facebook, but also the generation that we're in now, Instagram. So many people, especially young adults, are on Instagram. So it's all about people that you want to connect with. Know your target audience, know your message. Those are the two pieces of advice I want to leave you. Know your message and your mission and your audience.
Fantastic. Thank you, Larry, for hanging out for a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And answering some of these questions. I know they can be controversial, but you hit them very well, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Sure.
As we close out today's show, here are a few thoughts from our director, Troy Ferguson.
Today I want to challenge you to work for free. Now, before you go all crazy, today's motivational thought has a purpose in saying work for free. Most people learn and develop skills at their jobs or at school, and they learn to do just what they need to do for that job. But many times, if you are a person who is a above and beyond type of person, who thinks above and beyond what is required, there is something that you're going to have to do that you're maybe not getting compensated for. Matter of fact, if you want to learn a new skill that you're not trained in and you don't have the money to go to school, typically you do that by developing that skill, learning that skill by doing it for free. For me, this goes back to the early 90s when I was a youth pastor and I wanted to create a newsletter. I had no idea about graphic design, no idea how to create that. So what I did is I figured out I'm going to learn. I figured if there's a way to do it, I'm going to figure out how to do it. And I used a program called WordPerfect for DOS. Some of you people a little older, you may know that, WordPerfect for DOS. As a matter of fact, I learned how to create graphics and pictures and banners. I did this to the point that years ago, somebody even paid me a few dollars to create a newsletter for them. That was the beginning of my understanding that I can figure something out. If I can research it and I can put time into it when I'm not getting paid, I can maybe make a few bucks once I learn how to do it. This is applied to my life in the realm of newsletters and graphic design years ago, to the point of computer repair and even recently video production. All of these things I learned and developed by doing it for free. By doing things that didn't get any money, maybe even test projects that would get an idea of how to accomplish this. I see something I like, I figure out how to duplicate it. I figure out how to put my own spin on it. Now, why do I want to say that to you? Because if you want to do something different than you're doing now, maybe even in your job and you're not trained in it, learn how to do it by watching YouTube, by asking questions, by doing research. Figure out how to accomplish some of those things even if you aren't getting any compensation. If you do that, you will develop skills that you can get paid to do. This weekend, I'm actually doing video production for a big conference in our area, and it's because I've taken the time when I wasn't getting a dime for it to learn how to do video production, to learn how to record, to learn how to do interviews. As a matter of fact, my wife even says, "Troy, you watch the most boring videos." After she goes to bed, or sometimes when I'm at home, I'll pull up YouTube and learn how to create new ways to do an interview, or how to do a cinematic look for this or for that. It's always something that I want to develop and learn. The scripture I want to talk about today is found in 1 Timothy 5:18, and it talks about a laborer is worth his work. If you want to be more valuable, you got to create the ability or the understanding of how to do something different than what you're doing now. Otherwise, you're always going to be the value you are right now. How do you do that? You do things for free. You do sample projects, sample situations, or even something for your family that you can do for them, whether it's design or something creative that you do for free as you develop the skill. In time, you will be able to charge for these things that you want to do. God has blessed me tremendously, and recently He has opened some doors that I cannot even imagine have been opened a couple years ago. But they've been opened because it's skills and resources and networking that I have developed because I've taken the time to learn this stuff when I haven't got paid for it. So let me encourage you today. It's okay to work for free. In time, it will be beneficial. Now have a blessed day and a great week.
If you have a personal story you'd be willing to share with our community, we'd love to chat with you about it. Please contact us at 814-944-1948 or by email at stories@jointhecity.org. That's all the time we have today. Thanks for watching Joy in the City True Stories. Let me encourage you to watch other episodes of people and organizations having an impact on our community on ABC 23 at 5:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. every Sunday. You can also catch us each week on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Until then, be encouraged because God is moving in our city.
Today's Platinum sponsor is Harry's Construction, whose motto is, "If you can dream it, we can create it." Recently opening Harry's Construction Kitchen and Bath Center so you, the consumer, can see examples of the variety of services provided by the team at Harry's Construction. Regardless of the project size, Harry's team approaches each project as if it is his own home. Be sure to visit Harry's Construction Kitchen and Bath Center at 114 Main Street in Bellwood. You can also visit their website to see pictures of home improvement projects over the years. Thanks again to Harry Halk and the team for supporting Joy in the City.